Mercy James burst through the sliding doors of St. Luke's Community Hospital, like someone being chased. The sharp smell of disinfectant slapped her in the face as she sprinted toward the emergency counter. "Where's my mother?" "Martha James?" she gasped, palms slamming onto the desk. The nurse looked up, startled. "Room 214. The doctor is waiting for you." Mercy didn't wait to hear more. Her backpack slipped off one shoulder as she ran down the hallway, dodging an orderly pushing a cart. Her heart pounded so violently she thought she might faint before reaching the room. When she pushed the door open, Dr. Ramos was adjusting an 4-bag. "She collapsed again," he said, without needing to look at Mercy's face to know she was frightened. "Her condition is getting worse. We need to start treatment immediately." "How much?" Mercy whispered. $6,000 up front. The room began to tilt. Mercy grabbed the bed frame for balance. $6,000? I don't have that." Dr. Ramos gave her a heavy sigh, the kind that settles like a stone in the chest. Without it, she might not make it through the week. Mercy's gaze fell on her mother's frail form. Martha looked 20 years older than she actually was. Pale. Motionless. Only the gentle rise and fall of her chest assured Mercy she was still living. "I'll get the money," Mercy said, voice trembling but determined. "I don't know how, but I'll get it." She didn't wait for Dr. Ramos to respond. She rushed out of the room, tears burning her eyes. Outside in the corridor, she pressed her back to the wall, slid down and clutched her head. She was a 22-year-old accounting student who barely made rent. She cleaned offices at night, tutored kids on weekends, and cashiered at the grocery store 3 nights a week. She had $27 in her bank account. 6,000 might as well have been 6 million. But she didn't allow herself to cry for long. Crying wasted time. Crying didn't save her mother. She wiped her cheeks, stood, and marched out of the hospital like she was going to war. Her first stop was Mr. Dalton, the neighborhood moneylender known for exploiting desperate people. His office smelled like stale cigarettes and cheap leather. He stroked his gray beard while looking Mercy up and down as though her fear was entertainment. "You need $6,000 in 24 hours? He asked, intrigued. "Yes," she replied, hand gripping her backpack strap. "And I'll pay it back. Please, Mr. Dalton. I'm begging you." He lifted a brow. "Interest rate is 40%. Mercy's stomach dropped. 40? "Sir, that's—" "You came to me," he interrupted. "And you know my terms. I can't afford that." He smirked, leaning back. "Then I can't help you. Try the bank." "You know I can't get a loan," she snapped, desperation boiling over. "I'm a student. I don't have collateral." "Then find another way," he said, waving her off. "Your problem, not mine." Mercy stood frozen for a moment, anger and despair swirling inside her. Then she turned and walked out before she burst into tears in front of him. Next stop, the 24-hour pharmacy. She needed pain medication for her mother to last the night, at least. She grabbed the cheapest option and approached the counter. "That'll be $82, the cashier said. Mercy swallowed hard and took out her debit card. "Can you try it? Please." The cashier tried. Declined. Mercy tried another card. Declined again. Her hands began shaking. She felt people behind her in line staring. The cashier sighed. "Ma'am, if you don't have enough." "I just need the meds," Mercy whispered. "My mom she's very sick. Please." Someone behind her spoke. "Add it to my bill." Mercy froze. She turned and saw a tall man in a black hoodie and a baseball cap, pulling out a platinum credit card. He wasn't the type you'd expect to see at a cheap neighborhood pharmacy at 1 a.m. His presence felt out of place, too quiet, too self-contained. "It's okay," he said gently when she didn't move. "Let me." "I can't accept that," she said immediately. "You don't have a choice," he replied, nodding toward the cashier. "You need the medicine." Mercy's throat tightened. "Why would you help me?" His eyes met hers, soft, unreadable, almost sad. "Because you look like you need it." He paid, took the bag and handed it to her. "Take care of your mom." He started to walk away, but then paused and reached into his pocket. He handed her a simple white card. "If you ever need help, real help, call." Before she could respond, he was gone. Mercy stared at the card. Elliot Mark, founder and CEO MarkTech Innovations. Her eyes widened. MarkTech was all over the news lately, and he was a billionaire. What on earth was he doing in a neighborhood pharmacy at midnight? She shoved the card into her pocket and left quickly, mind spinning. She told herself she wouldn't call. She couldn't. She had pride. She had dignity. She would find another way. But by morning the hospital called. Her mother's condition had worsened. They needed the payment immediately. Mercy stood outside the building, gripping the phone so hard her knuckles turned white. "Please just give me more time," she begged. "Miss James," the billing officer said coldly, "time is exactly what your mother doesn't have." When they hung up, Mercy leaned forward and pressed her forehead to her knees, shaking. Then her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She answered. "Hello." A calm, deep voice. "Is this Mercy James?" "Yes. I heard you need money urgently." A pause. 5 figures, right? Her heart lurched. "Who is this?" "You know who." "Elliot." The air left her lungs. I can't ask you for money." "I know," he said. "Which is why I'm offering you a deal instead." "What deal?" His voice dropped, almost hesitant. "One night. Your terms. No violence. No recording. No future claims. Full payment up front." Mercy's body went cold. "Are you serious?" "Yes." "Why me?" she whispered. A long pause. "Because I can help. And because you need it." She closed her eyes. "I don't do things like that." "Then walk away," he said quietly. "But ask yourself what your mother needs right now." Mercy pressed a hand to her mouth as tears streamed down her face. "Text me your terms," Elliot said. "If I agree, it happens tonight." Then he hung up. Mercy stood trembling on the sidewalk, fighting every instinct she had. But the image of her mother in that hospital bed was stronger than her pride. Pause. What would you do in Mercy's place? Comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe for the complete story. She texted him. He agreed. The money arrived in her bank account within minutes. And Mercy changed her life forever. Mercy stared at the bank alert on her phone until the numbers blurred. $6,000. More money than she had ever seen in her entire life. Her chest tightened as guilt and relief crashed together in a painful wave. She whispered, "Mom, this will save you." But the words tasted like betrayal. She had crossed a line she never imagined she would. Elliot sent an address. A high-rise apartment building in downtown Portland. The kind where the lobby alone looked richer than her entire existence. Mercy stood outside for several minutes, her fingers trembling around her phone. She wanted to turn around, run home, pretend none of this happened. But every time she pictured her mother on that hospital bed, barely breathing, she forced herself to take the next step. Inside, the elevator walls were mirrored. She didn't recognize the girl staring back. Messy ponytail, faded jeans, fear shining in her eyes. When she reached the 21st floor, she stepped out and found apartment 2103. The door opened before she knocked. Elliot stood there, wearing a simple charcoal t-shirt and sweatpants. No pretense. No arrogance. Just a man who also seemed nervous. "You came," he said softly. Mercy nodded, unable to speak. He stepped aside, letting her in. The apartment was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, warm lighting, minimalist furniture. But Mercy didn't care about any of that. She wrapped her arms around herself like she needed to hold her body together. "You can walk away," Elliot said, standing a few steps behind her. "You'll keep the money." Her breath caught. "Why would you do that?" "Because I'm not a monster, Mercy." She swallowed. "Then why ask me to do this?" His jaw clenched. "Because I didn't know any other way to help you without insulting you, or making you feel small." She turned slowly, meeting his eyes. "And this doesn't make me feel small?" He looked devastated. "I'm sorry." The sincerity in his voice almost broke her. Mercy took a shaky breath. "Let's get this over with." He didn't touch her immediately. They talked first. Strange, hesitant conversation that felt warmer than the situation deserved. He asked about her studies. She told him about accounting, about her dream to one day help families like hers avoid debt traps. She asked about his company. He said it wasn't as glamorous as people assumed. He was always working, always tired, always alone. At some point she whispered, "Why me, Elliot? You could have anyone." He stared at her for a long time. "Because when I saw you at the pharmacy you didn't look like someone who gives up. And I haven't met someone like that in a long time." Her throat tightened. She didn't know whether to cry or scream. The night that followed was nothing like the nightmare she had feared. It was quiet, slow, almost too gentle. He asked permission before every touch. When she trembled, he paused. When she cried silently, he whispered, "You're safe. You're safe." His hands shook as much as hers. When it was done, they lay in silence, staring at the ceiling, their breathing unsteady. "You can go whenever you want," he murmured. Mercy sat up quickly. "No, staying makes it feel real." She gathered her things, wiping at her face. He stood too, looking unsure whether to reach for her. But he didn't. At the door he said softly, "If you ever need anything." "No," she cut him off sharply. "This never happened." His expression hardened with pain. "If that's what you want." "It is." She left before he could say more. For hours later, Mercy returned to the hospital and paid the bill in full. The relief in Dr. Ramos's eyes nearly made her collapse. They began treatment immediately. Mercy sat beside her mother's bed, holding her hand. Martha was still unconscious, but Mercy whispered, "I saved you, Mom. You're going to live. You're going to live." But deep inside, she wondered what part of herself she had sacrificed to make that happen. 2 weeks passed. Her mother stabilized, her color returning, her smile growing stronger each day. Mercy told her the same lie over and over, that an old classmate had loaned her the money. Martha believed her without question. "You always find a way, Mercy," she said proudly. "You always have." The words hit harder than any judgment. Then, unexpectedly, Mercy received an email. "Congratulations, Mercy James. You have been selected for an internship at Mark & Reeves Financial." Her breath caught. She hadn't even expected a callback. This was one of the most competitive programs in the state. This was career-changing. On her first day, she stepped into the gleaming skyscraper downtown. Nerves shook her entire body. She prayed she wouldn't see Elliot. Maybe he didn't even work directly here. Maybe he forgot her. But the moment the elevator doors opened on the executive floor, she froze. Elliot Mark stood at the end of the hallway. He was talking to a group of board members, confident and composed. When he turned, his eyes locked instantly with hers. For a moment both froze. Then he looked away as if she were a stranger. Mercy's heart twisted painfully. She told herself she wanted exactly that. As she moved to her assigned department, she met her new team. Aria Benson, the senior financial officer with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. Aria shook Mercy's hand warmly. "Work hard. Stay honest. That's all I ask." Then there were Chloe and Jenna, two interns who immediately sized her up with cold smirks. "So you're the new girl," Chloe said. "Cute backpack. Very college freshman vibes." Jenna snickered. "Let's see how long you last." Mercy ignored them and focused on her tasks. Day after day she worked late, double-checking reports, analyzing spreadsheets, proving herself worthy. But Chloe and Jenna whispered, spread rumors, and rolled their eyes every time Mercy spoke. She pretended not to care. But the worst moment came on the third week. Mercy walked into the break room and heard Chloe's voice behind her. "I'm telling you, she definitely slept her way in. Look at her. She's desperate enough." Jenna giggled. "With who? You think Elliot Mark would look twice at her?" Mercy froze. Her heart thudded painfully. They didn't know. They couldn't know. But hearing his name burned. She stepped out silently, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing her cry. 2 days later, everything shattered. Mercy came into work to find security waiting for her at her desk. "Miss James," one officer said, "you need to come with us." Chloe stood in the corner pretending to look shocked. "What's going on?" Mercy asked, voice trembling. "We found unauthorized documents accessed under your login," the officer said. "Sensitive client files." Mercy's stomach dropped. "What? I didn't touch any files." "We also found printed copies in your drawer." Mercy felt the room spinning. "That's impossible. Someone put them there." Chloe gasped dramatically. "Mercy, how could you? After Aria trusted you." "I didn't do this." Mercy shouted. But no one believed her. Security escorted her out as tears streamed down her cheeks. She felt like her entire world was collapsing. And somewhere down the hallway, Elliot stepped out of his office, eyes widening as he watched her being taken away. He didn't move. He didn't say a word. And the silence hurt more than the accusation. Elliot watched Mercy disappear around the corner, escorted by security. His fingers twitched at his sides, torn between instinct and restraint. He wanted to stop them. He wanted to shout that she would never do something like that. He wanted to run after her. But he remained frozen, jaw clenched, pulse pounding. If he intervened without evidence, it would only make things worse for her. Meanwhile, Mercy was led into a small conference room where Arya was waiting, arms crossed tightly, her normally calm face filled with disappointment. Mercy felt her knees weaken at the sight. "Arya, please," Mercy whispered. "I didn't do this." Arya's expression didn't soften. "They found the documents in your drawer, Mercy. And the system logs show your account accessed them." "I was framed," Mercy said desperately. "Someone planted those files." "Who?" Arya challenged. "Why would anyone target you?" Mercy swallowed hard. I don't know." Chloe and Jenna flashed in her mind like poison, but accusing without proof would only look worse. Arya sighed heavily, rubbing her temples. "This is serious. The board wants you suspended while we investigate." "Please," Mercy begged, voice cracking. "You know I wouldn't do something like this." But Arya didn't answer. She just stood and walked out, leaving Mercy shaking alone in the room. Security escorted her outside the building. As she stepped into the cold afternoon air, Mercy felt the humiliation swallow her whole. People on the street blurred. Her chest tightened, breath shallow and painful. She had worked so hard, sacrificed so much, and now she was being thrown out like trash. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. For a moment she considered ignoring it, but something in her gut told her not to. "Hello," she whispered. "Where are you?" Elliot's voice was low, tense. Mercy shut her eyes. "Why do you care?" "I need to talk to you." "It's too late for that." "Mercy, please." She almost hung up. But a part of her, the part that remembered his gentleness, his quiet fear, wouldn't let her. "I'm outside," she said finally. Minutes later, Elliot emerged from the building and approached her. He kept a cautious distance as though afraid she might run. "I'm sorry," he said immediately. "I didn't know they were going to do that." "You didn't stop them," she hissed. "You just watched." Elliot flinched like she'd slapped him. "I'm the CEO, Mercy. If I step in without evidence, it looks like bias. It would hurt you more than help." "Everything already hurts," she whispered. A silence stretched between them, heavy and painful. "Let me fix this," he said softly. "You can't fix everything with money, Elliot." "I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the truth." Mercy folded her arms. "And what truth would that be?" "That you're innocent," he said firmly. "I know you are. I'll prove it." Before she could respond, Arya stepped out of the building and saw them together. Her eyes widened for a second, confusion flashing across her face, but she masked it quickly. "Mr. Mark," she said, approaching. "We need to discuss the security breach." Elliot nodded. "Bring me everything, the CCTV, the login reports, timestamps, and get IT to dig deeper." Arya hesitated. "You think she didn't do it?" Elliot's voice was ice. "I think we don't have the whole story." Mercy stared at him, stunned. Something warm and frightening surged in her chest. She didn't know whether to trust it. 2 hours later, Arya called. "Mercy, you need to come in." Mercy's heart hammered. "Why?" "We found evidence." "Just come." When Mercy walked into the security room, Chloe and Jenna were already there, pale and shaking. Arya stood with her arms crossed, expression unreadable. "Show her," Arya instructed. The security officer played footage from the night before. Mercy's office door. Empty hallways. Then, Chloe sneaking into Mercy's office. Chloe digging through Mercy's drawer. Chloe placing files inside. Jenna standing guard. Mercy covered her mouth, tears rushing to her eyes. Vindication and rage wildly tangled in her chest. Arya turned to Chloe, her voice sharp as a blade. "Would you like to explain this?" Chloe's composure shattered. I was just trying to. Everyone likes her and she was making us look bad. Arya stepped closer. So you tried to ruin her career? Jenna burst into tears. It wasn't my idea. Chloe said. Both of you are fired, Arya said coldly. And the board will consider legal action. Mercy watched them crumble. She wasn't someone who loved revenge, but this moment felt like breathing after nearly drowning. When Chloe and Jenna were escorted out, Arya turned to Mercy. I'm sorry, Arya said, voice gentler. I should have trusted you. Mercy wiped her cheeks. It's okay. It's not, Arya replied. But you're reinstated. And you're stronger than most people I've met. Mercy's voice shook. Thank you. Later that evening, Elliot found her in the rooftop lounge outside the executive meeting hall. The sunset cast gold across the sky, reflecting off the city like broken glass. She didn't turn when he approached. You proved your point, she said softly. You always fix things. I didn't fix this, he replied. You did. You were brave. She faced him at last. His eyes held something vulnerable, something real. Mercy, he whispered. I'm sorry for everything. For that night. For hurting you. For staying silent today. Her voice wavered. I don't know what this thing between us is. He stepped closer. Neither do I. But I know what I feel when I look at you. Her breath caught. Elliot. Before she could say more, the doors behind them burst open. Evelyn Mark, Elliot's grandmother, stumbled out gasping. Elliot, Elliot! She cried, gripping her chest. Grandma! Elliot rushed to her. What's wrong? I can't breathe. Mercy was already dialing 911 as Elliot held Evelyn upright. Panic surged across his face. Help is coming, Mercy assured him, steadying Evelyn. Stay with us, Mrs. Mark. Within minutes, paramedics arrived. But one of them pulled Mercy aside after checking the medication bottle they found in the elderly woman's bag. These supplements were tampered with, he said gravely. Someone added a harmful compound. Mercy's blood ran cold. Who would do that? She whispered. But she already knew. Tobias Mark, the cousin who openly despised Evelyn's influence in the company, the same man who wanted Elliot removed from his position. The hospital later confirmed it was attempted poisoning. Elliot stormed into the conference room where Tobias was pretending to work late. You tried to kill her. Elliot roared. Tobias smirked. Prove it. Mercy stepped forward and slammed the lab report onto the table. We already did. Tobias froze. Security escorted him out within minutes. When the chaos settled, Elliot found Mercy alone in the hallway. She looked exhausted, frightened, shaken but steady. You saved my grandmother, he whispered. You saved my family. I did what anyone would do. No, Elliot said, stepping closer. Most people run when things get hard. You stay. You fight. You protect people who aren't even yours. Mercy looked down, tears glimmering. Don't make me out to be some hero. I'm not. Elliot gently lifted her chin. You're everything I didn't know I needed. Her breath trembled. Elliot, I can't be another mistake. You were never a mistake, he whispered fiercely. That night changed me. I thought money solved everything. I was wrong. His voice cracked. I want to earn your forgiveness. I want to earn you. Mercy felt herself crumble, the weight of weeks collapsing into her ribs. I don't know how to do this. Let me try, he pleaded. Let me love you the right way. She swallowed hard, staring into the eyes of the man who had broken her, saved her, and somehow pieced her back together. Before she could answer, the CEO assistant called Elliot into an urgent meeting. He grabbed Mercy's hand. Please don't disappear, he whispered. I won't, she said. Weeks passed. Mercy worked harder than ever, gaining Arya's respect and becoming known for her integrity. But things weren't peaceful for long. At the company's annual charity gala, Mercy noticed irregularities in the event budget, large amounts diverted into unknown accounts. She investigated quietly, running numbers through the system. The amounts were high enough to raise alarms. Elliot found her staring at the computer late at night. What's wrong? Tobias wasn't the only one stealing from the company, she said. This looks big. Together they dug deeper. Eventually, They exposed a sophisticated embezzlement ring involving several high-ranking staff. The discovery made headlines. Elliot publicly credited Mercy for uncovering the fraud. "She saved us all," he said to cameras. "She's the most honest person I've ever known." Later on the rooftop after the gala, Elliot approached Mercy. She stood under the string lights, dress fluttering in the cool breeze. He took a deep breath. "Mercy, I love you." Her heart slammed against her ribs. "Elliot, I don't expect anything. I don't deserve anything. I just needed you to know." Tears slid down her cheeks. For the first time in months she let herself feel everything: fear, longing, hope. "I love you too," she whispered. Elliot's breath caught as he pulled her into his arms. Months later, during Mercy's graduation ceremony, he stepped onto the stage after she received her diploma. In front of the entire crowd, Elliot knelt on one knee, holding out a ring that sparkled brighter than the stage lights. No secrets. No deals. No debts. Just love. "Mercy James, will you marry me?" The audience gasped. Mercy covered her mouth, tears spilling freely. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes. The crowd erupted into cheers as Elliot lifted her into his arms. Later, as they volunteered at a local children's home, Mercy laughed as Elliot tried to paint a mural and ruined his shirt. She whispered with a warm smile. Evelyn watched them fondly, smiling with pride and peace at last. If you loved our journey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Thanks for watching.